And they told me that the way the U.S. government works is a little bit like the diamond monopoly, the De Beers diamond cartel.
Okay, let me ask you to hold it right there. We'll pause, do our business, and come back and pick this up. Was that Yamaguchi Crime Syndicate?
Yamaguchi Gumi Crime Syndicate.
Okay, very good. Stand by, Ben. We'll pause. Come back. Part 2 of our conversation exclusive here for you with journalist Benjamin Fulford live from Japan. We'll be right back. All right, right back with you and Ben Fulford. All right, Ben, you went to see the head of a major crime family.
Yeah, 50,000 member gang.
Okay, all right, and excuse me, just by way of journalism, don't give away details you don't need to. How did you get word to this person, and is it something that they said, sure, Ben, come on down, let's talk, and then I have a follow-up question to that, please.
Okay, well, look, I mean, I've known these people for years and years now, and I've been quite friendly with them. I don't do any business with them, but, we trade information. You see, I started out as a financial journalist, so when I realized all the bank money was disappearing into gangster front companies, I started cultivating these sources, and I got a very high-level one, and I've known them for years.
Very good. All right. Now, what is... in short, what is their response to your first visit on the program? And from the secret society, I'm going to expand upon the question just a drop, then we'll go back to the specifics of what you asked them. What was the response of those people whose interests you are representing to your first visit on the program and your appearance on Rense.com and so forth?
Okay, they generally were happy with it, but, they told me that it was very... uncouth of me to have been so, threatening and blustery, that stuff like that is usually left unsaid and implicit, and you're supposed to be more polite, Well,
that would seem to be the Asian M.O. I can understand that, although the point was made, and I think that was the larger issue at hand to make the point, and I think you did it very clearly and succinctly. So, all right, back to the issue of your talk with the head of this large Asian syndicate.
Okay, well, these people told me, yeah, we subcontract for the Rockefellers. And the way the world economy runs is these people control the money and they control the oil. And just like when you have the De Beers diamond monopoly, they have what they call the site. A bunch of men get together in a room, they have a pile of diamonds, they divide them into, a pile for each, and then these people decide who gets what downstream. Well, they do the same with oil and with cash. And they a small group of men get together, and they come up with themes. And, they came up with this war on terror theme, and the idea was to, find an excuse to seize the Central Asian oil resources. And at the same time, they wanted to, find an excuse to sell lots more weapons. And they want to extend their geopolitical goals of, subduing China in the longer term. And so this is how the world economy works. It's a bunch of men in a secret room who control the dollars and the oil, who then decide everything. And I don't think that is the proper way for a planet to be managed. I mean, these people are gangsters. And so instead of having the meanest bully run the planet, I would think it would be a committee of the wisest sages would be better.
It does seem to be a rat race amongst the meanest killer rapist, environmentally destructive, damaging, annihilating bullies of them all. And you're right. Meanest SOB, most psychopathic SOB on the planet. I agree.
Yeah, because what happened to me was I suddenly realized that the Japanese have enough money to end poverty, stop all environmental destruction. In a matter of 2 or 3 years, they could wipe poverty, disease, environmental destruction from this planet, and ignorance. It would be so easy. So I started asking, why don't you do this? And finally, they told me the truth. Well, the Rockefellers won't let us do it. They want that money for themselves so they can make weapons and, play with the world as if they're...
They don't give a good goddamn about the individual at all. That's the bottom line.
No, they think of them as serfs or and they think there's too many of them. They want to have a big purge. I mean, these people think of themselves as shepherds. And I talked to another scholar... because people were, I believe, upset when I said that Abraham was Hammurabi or something. But what we really have to do is go back to Nimrod to really understand this whole situation. There were a lot of people living in Babylonia. farming people. And 5,771 years ago, they were invaded by Hyksos, who were a tribe of pastoralists. And they came and said, there's got to be a way to herd humans the way we herd sheep, right? Mm-hmm. And they're the people who have ever since been herding people.
Herding and culling people.
And culling. Yes, they think of themselves, they're entitled to their, cull, and they can take some young woman and play with them and then kill them or whatever. That's their right
they think they're demigods is what they think they are.
Yeah, I know a lady, a princess who met them, and they said, yeah, we're gods. Mm-hmm. David Rockefeller is Zeus, and whatever. They think of themselves as gods. Mm-hmm. But they're not. And they've inbred themselves into stupidity. And they're in very, very severe danger right now. I'm trying to save their lives, and they don't realize it. If I were them, I would be terrified. You've got 80% of the American public against them, and when the people in the West cotton on to their existence, they're going to be furious. That's why they have to keep themselves secret. They have to, they spend all this energy fighting, trying to prevent people from being aware that they exist. Because if they were, so here they are. Everybody on the planet hates them now. They've got no support. I mean, Russia's against them, China's against them, Japan's turned against them.
Well, Russia remembers almost down to the genetic level what those people did to their country over the last century.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bolsheviks, the slaughter, the horrible, horrible decimation and liquidation of probably well over 50 million people, many of whom were Christians. Not that that really matters, but that's the issue. And they certainly all were innocent, and they all were of European extraction.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, there you go.
And the other thing is, maybe the Anglo-Saxons and the Jews both think they rule the world, but when they get to the very high level, they're told, neither of you rule anything. You're our slaves. We rule the world.
We'll come back in a minute, Ben. Hold on, and we'll further define who the enemy is. And it's not Jews. It's not Christians. It's something else. And you made a very good point in a private correspondence to me, how to throw away the obvious potential criticism of your message being somewhat anti-Semitic in nature, which of course it isn't. We'll clear that up and do some other things as we continue Conversation Part 2, exclusively here on the Jeff Rense program in just a few minutes. And we return. Our conversation with Benjamin Fulford, live from Tokyo, continues. All right, Ben, let's further define the enemy as we can. I know it was interesting, and one of the ways it was phrased to me was if you take all of the so-called anti-Jewish, anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic material and reduce it down to everything but anti-Jewish material, you'll have a pretty good sketch of who the enemy is. This is not an issue of Jewish people or Judaism. It's an issue that goes much beyond that, which, of course, as we know, has used Judaism and continues to use dumb Christian Zionists as well today. It's quite a clever and sophisticated group of people. They've been around for a long time. So tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, they are the sort of elite of the ancient Babylonian kings, and their job is always to control the masses. So in a sense, a lot of the Jews never really escaped from Babylonia to this day. They just don't know it. I think what happens is they get used like a matador's cape. Anytime they do something that pisses people off and they get angry, then they sort of flash them the Jews as like a red cape and say, these are the people who did it, and it's not.
Well, they hung them out to dry and sacrificed them in World War II. We know that now through the work of Jewish scholars, Lenny Brenner, Henry Macko, Ph.D., and a number of others who have found the truth out. And if you want to really read the truth, direct from a man who was in the middle of it, read 10 Questions to the Zionists by Rabbi Michael Dov Wiesmandel. That's on Rense.com at the left side. Read it from a Jewish man himself, a rabbi who was there. So check it out. All right.
Yeah, and I want to take an aside here. The Simon Wiesenthal Center tried to get one of my books banned here in Tokyo. And Rabbi Cooper from the Wiesenthal Center came over to the Foreign Correspondents Club. And I asked him, why do you want my book banned, right? And he said, it's because I mentioned that President Bush killed 650,000 people in Iraq. which is, based on a British medical magazine. So here we have a